Right now, 10 kilometers above your head, an invisible battle is raging. On one side, particles so small a million could dance on a period, yet together they bounce enough sunlight back to space to shave almost half a degree off global temperatures. On the other, sooty specks that soak up heat like a black t-shirt on a summer day, pushing the mercury back up. For 50 years, we've scrubbed our skies clean for our lungs, only to discover we might have been ripping away a parasol, quietly protecting us from the full fury of greenhouse gases. Welcome to the secret war for our climate, where the soldiers are invisible, the stakes are everything, and the enemy might be the same stuff we just paid billions to get rid of. Who are these invisible combatants? Aerosols. The word sounds like hairspray from the 80s, but scientifically, they're any tiny solid or liquid particle hanging in the air. Sea salt, dust, pollen, volcanic ash, diesel soot, sulfate from coal plants. Once airborne, they all earn the same label. Their average lifespan? A week, maybe 2. Yet in that brief window, they decide how much solar energy stays on Earth. Light-colored sulfate particles act like trillions of disco balls, scattering sunlight back to space. Dark black carbon, essentially microscopic charcoal, absorbs it, turning solar energy into heat. Same family, opposite personalities. Think of them as squabbling twins inside the same atmospheric bedroom. Meet the cooling heroes. Remember the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo? Within months, 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide became sulfate aerosols high in the stratosphere. Global temperatures dipped by about 0.5 degrees Celsius for 2 years. No secret government lab, just geology doing its own geoengineering. And ships? They perform a smaller version of this trick daily. Satellite photos reveal ship tracks, bright white lines of marine clouds, seeded by sulfate from engine exhaust. These extra cloud droplets reflect twice as much sunlight as the unperturbed ocean sky. Scientists estimate that, globally, human-made sulfate aerosols currently offset roughly 1/3 of the warming we've caused with carbon dioxide. We're flying blind through climate policy, yet a planetary sunshade, built of pollution, has been buffering us this whole time. Enter the warming villains. Black carbon might sound like a metal band, but it's the second largest contributor to global warming after carbon dioxide. When soot lands on Arctic snow, it turns reflective white into heat-absorbing gray, accelerating melt. During California's 2020 fire season, black carbon-rich smoke rose 8 kilometers high. Instruments measured local temperatures 3 degrees warmer than surrounding air. Unlike sulfate, cutting black carbon is a climate win-win. It falls out of the sky in weeks, and reducing it saves lives. The WHO links it to 7 million premature deaths each year. The twist? Policies targeting aerosols as a single category often slash both types together, yanking away the cooling parasol while the carbon blanket remains. The policy paradox: Europe's sulfur emissions dropped 80% since 1990, thanks to scrubbers on power plants and low-sulfur shipping fuel. The skies turned bluer, acid rain retreated, and respiratory health improved. Meanwhile, the continent's rate of warming jumped. In fact, the last 5 summers were the hottest on record. Correlation isn't causation, but climate models for the IPCC's latest report show aerosol cleanup explains about half of the accelerated warming trend since 2000. Translation: cleaning the air revealed greenhouse gases already lurking in the system. Imagine paying off your credit card while still shopping. The balance goes down slower than you expect. Geoengineering. Handing the reins to humans, some researchers propose spraying sulfate particles from high-altitude aircraft to mimic volcanic cooling, what's called stratospheric aerosol injection. Cost? A few billion a year, pennies compared with transforming global energy. Risk? Regional rainfall shifts, ozone depletion, sudden termination shock if we ever stop, and the mother of all governance headaches: Who controls the planetary thermostat? The U.S. National Academies recommend a slow-motion, transparent research program, but no large-scale tests yet. Meanwhile, a private company in Mexico quietly launched a balloon in 2022. The Mexican government promptly banned future experiments. Technology is outpacing policy at comic book speed. What happens if we do nothing? If global emissions regulations keep scrubbing sulfur while carbon dioxide rises, models project an extra 0.4 degrees Celsius of unmasked warming by 2050. That's enough to double the frequency of record-breaking heat waves in the tropics. On the flip side, letting sulfur emissions persist for climate gain is a public health catastrophe. Every microgram per cubic meter increase costs roughly 1 million lives per decade globally. The planet doesn't offer a comfortable middle road, only trade-offs dressed up as strategies. Conclusion. The takeaway: the secret war above our heads isn't between good and evil particles. It's a civil war inside the same sky. Sulfate aerosols cool, black carbon warms, both ride the wind for mere days. And the difference between comfort and calamity? It's measured in parts per trillion. Cutting carbon dioxide remains the only long game, but in the short sprint we need surgical precision. Reduce warming aerosols fast, phase out cooling ones slowly, and invest every cent we save into renewables. Subscribe if you want to know whether marine cloud brightening ever leaves the lab. Share this with the policy nerd in your life, and remember, sometimes the most powerful armies are the ones you'll never see.